this stat is actually on not just generative AI, but AI overall, which has seen kind of more adoption. Stats we've seen for generative AI is actually much lower for Canadian businesses, but we are, again, lagging behind other comparative economies. And many of you, I'm sure, have heard of the deputy governor of the Bank of Canada recently talking about the productivity crisis that we face in Canada, where actually the pie is kind of shrinking, and we need to figure out how to create more productivity per worker in our economy, so more GDP per person. And just to put it into perspective as well on productivity, because we often hear this, but it's not really real for us. I heard something recently that really kind of made it come home to me, was that we basically, GDP per person, we are almost identical to Finland. So the average GDP per person in Finland is very equivalent to the average GDP per person in Canada. But in Finland, they do it with 300 hours less work per worker. So about 5 weeks of extra time off or vacation, or lower hours. So really, how do we actually increase that productivity per person really does come down to some of these tools. And I would argue that certainly generative AI for knowledge workers is probably one of the most potential single increases of worker productivity that we could look at.